Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Sunday Night Live, your favorite automotive show where we talk about all those things that impact the customer experience at your store. Because the greater the customer experience, the more they love you and they come back to you for everything they need when they need it. And typically they will be your raving fans that tell their friends, their family members, the people they work with, everybody that they come in contact with, how wonderful your store is, and everybody's business improves. So I'm fortunate to have a great network. I have a strategic alliance with a company called TechForce, and what they do is they help the automotive world and also I think fleet and aviation with technicians. So I bring on folks, and this week we have Angie. She is the vice president and supply chain for Caliber. It's a company that has, well, she'll tell you what it is. And she's also on the board of directors for TechForce. So welcome, Angie.
Thank you, Paul. It's great to be here today. There's nothing that I'd rather talk about than the automotive industry.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your background and, how you started and where you're at now.
Sure, you bet. So I've been in different areas of the automotive industry really for almost my entire career. So I started out renting cars to the automotive industry and then went through a few other positions and ran some service centers. And that's really where I was introduced to working with technicians and being in the bays with them and seeing what they do and how smart they are. And I loved it. And then I was VP of reconditioning at another company and just loved the automotive industry. And then I found my way into Caliber. And as the VP of supply chain, I get to touch a lot of different parts of the process, operations. I get to work with our suppliers, with our manufacturers, with our dealers. And it's just been very satisfying and rewarding. But through that journey, I was introduced to TechForce. So a little over 5 years ago. And what I loved about TechForce was that they not only provided scholarships for people to get into a career as a technician, but a lot of the work that they did was about changing the image of a career as a technician and getting more people excited to join in any company as a technician. And so I joined the board, and I've been on the board for 5 years now. And this year I'm serving as chair of the board. So I get to touch a lot of different things within, the collision industry and the automotive industry. And it's rewarding. I'm happy to be able to do something to give back to an industry that has been really good to me.
Wow, that is one heck of a history there. That's what I call a rich history.
Yeah, too long though. So I'm not going to tell you the number of years that I've been doing that.
Well, I'm old, so I'm sensitive to the whole number of years thing. I want to get to a couple of comments and then have a short video that I want to play as to why TechForce and what TechForce can do for you as a repair shop, an auto body collision center, or a dealership. So let's go to the comments first. First one is Ed Chipolowski. Good evening, everyone. Ed is actually the catalyst that introduced me to TechForce. So I'm eternally grateful to Ed. It's such a wonderful organization, and the things they do, it's going to blow you away. We got Russell B. Hill. Good evening, all. SNL, here we go. Cannot wait to hear this tonight. Hello, Angie and Paul. Mike Vogel, the coach. Good evening, Paul and Angie. And Jerry Davis says, I would love some information as I am in a need for CDJR techs. Please reach out to me at Jerry Yahoo email address. You got it, man. And you're gonna see some stuff here, and you're going to have access to join for free to see how you can benefit as a store. Jerry says, Paul, shaping up to be yet another great show. Oh, thank you, Jerry. I appreciate your support, man. All right. Why TechForce? Here's a good reason. Mike, why TechForce if I'm a dealer?
Somebody's got to focus on solving this tech shortage. It's everybody's number one pain point, and TechForce is the only national not-for-profit focused on helping people to and through careers as technicians. What that means for dealers is we're working with thousands of students and working techs around the country. We've got over 100,000 in our database, and there's over 12,000 of them who are part of our online social community. So fish where the fishes are, but it requires supporting this mission. It's not a quick fix. We have to do things from junior high through high school to post-secondary education to get them interested in and supported through this journey and into those jobs, internships, placements, relationships with the schools that, you're busy running a shop and you don't have time to figure out who's the point of contact at my local tech school or high school. We have them all available in our TechForce social community.
So talk about an awesome catalyst to kind of bridge the gap here. If you go on techforce.org, you can sign up for a free account. It's an incredible community that offers resources and scholarships and so much more. So join it, kind of poke around a little bit to see. Now, you are the VP of supply chain at Caliber, and that's no small company. I think there's 1,600 stores across the country, something like that.
We have over 1,600 in all of the lines of business that Caliber currently has.
So you get to see a lot.
It's quite a lot. I get to see how our centers are operating, get involved in the operations. My team handles procuring and working with our probably more than 7,000 suppliers of all kinds of parts, paint, allied products, sublet operations. So I'm very fortunate to stay close to the operational side of the business, since that was somewhat of my background. But I love being able to help the collision centers and all of our centers just run better. If they don't have to worry about those things, they can focus on a quality repair and taking care of the customers.
Now, everybody's been plagued by supply chain issues. I don't care who you are, whether you're a small mom and pop store, repair shop, or collision center or dealership. Everybody's kind of in the same boat, but better management of that. I think you've been able to reduce, some of the processes by quite a bit, right?
Well, what's good is there's some great partners. There's just some great companies out there who not only work with Caliber, but work with the industry as a whole. And they've been focused on reducing the number of days that it takes to get parts. So before we went into the pandemic, people were receiving parts in under a day. It was half a day. It was 3/4 of a day. It was hours, basically. And then we hit the pandemic, climbed and climbed. And now we're at the point to where average days to receive a part is just above 2 days. And it's come down dramatically in the past 8 months. So it's just great to see the industry as a whole working together, because the more parts we have, the more vehicles we can repair and the more people we can get back on the road.
And, that's actually pretty good, because I hear horror stories that there are some manufacturers or some OEMs that are waiting literally months and months for parts. So that's a huge nightmare. And what did we say? It was 100. The need over the next 4 years is 113,000 technicians in the collision industry.
That's correct. So 113,000 new entrants as a collision technician is what the experts say is going to be needed in the next 4 years. So being able to show people why this is a great career, what technicians do, it's so important. As a society, it seems, I think we've not forgotten, but the skilled trades are just so critical. And when you think of people being able to get from point A to point B, you need technicians. And when your car's in a collision, you need a collision shop to repair your vehicle and get you back on the road safely. So in order to be able to find those techs and actually encourage people that are looking for career opportunities to go into the career as a technician. And now's a great time because we're getting closer to high school graduations. People are going to be looking for career opportunities, and not everyone will be going through the college route. And this is a wonderful opportunity. Get some education, because you still have to get some sort of education. So it's just how you get your education.
Now, I've heard from a lot of people that based on budgetary cutbacks and things like that, there are schools that don't necessarily have programs anymore. And that's really a shame. But, the way I look at the world is, yes, there are things that happen that cause other things to happen or not happen. And how we react and deal with that is really what sets one business apart from another. Now, when I went to school a long time ago, I was fortunate. I had shop class through junior high school, metal shop, wood shop. And in high school, I was very fortunate to have 4 years of automotive shop that I was able to do. We had a spray booth in the shop, and I never forget. We're restoring a '57 Chevy, candy apple red. I think that's the only color anybody ever restored those cars. Okay. But I learned hands-on, what it meant to braze body parts, what it meant to put Bondo on a car, the spray booth, the mask, how to paint cars, and all that. And that was the impetus for me to get into the car business. And I love this business. I've been in it. This is my 44th year. I could not imagine doing anything other than the car business. And so many kids today miss out on that. And somewhere along the line, the conversation of, hey, automotive and tech is great, kind of shifted to, you need to go to a 4-year college, Billy and Sally, because if you don't, then nothing's going to happen. And here's the truth of the matter. I know a lot of people, and I'm not knocking college. College is awesome. And there are a lot of people that go to college that go to very, very high levels in business. But there are also a lot that don't, and not everybody should go to college. Trade school is an incredible place, but we're not having the conversation. So I want to play this short clip, and then I'll get to a couple of comments here. Let's see here, because these are conversations we need to have now, early, because that sets the stage for people getting in.
Absolutely.
You know me. I'm just a younger version of you.
I like to tear stuff apart so I can put it back together.
My hands are my best tools.
I learn with my hands. I work with them.
I think with them.
We know how to make things go.
So what would you tell me if I was the younger you?
Would you tell me to stop fidgeting?
Sit at my desk and try to be like everybody else?
Or that there's only one road to success? Or should I keep driving like you did, fixing stuff and figuring out how to keep the world moving?
Help me show the world that there's a profession right here in my hands.
helped me build my life and my career the way I'm wired to work.
For us, this is how we work, and you can lay that across to you. It's how we are, wired for success. If we stand together, stand for those of us who love working with our hands, we'll not only champion tomorrow's workforce of technicians, but we just may change the way everyone thinks about technical careers.
You figure it out how to be you.
Now help me be me.
So these are some of the conversations we need to have early and get these kids in. Let me get to a couple of comments and then we'll continue. Ed Chipolowski says, hello, TechForce, and Bob Carmack. Hey, Paul, Bob in Texas. We connected this week, so I wanted to watch the show tonight. Techs are a big issue almost everywhere. I'll correct you on that. Everywhere, not almost everywhere. Everywhere. There's not a dealership I walk into that the first thing they say is, hey, do you have some techs for me? No, I don't. So thank you for tuning in, Bob. I appreciate it, man. Mike Vogel, I have a friend that just took over a Ford store that has some vehicles waiting months for parts sales. See, there we go. That's what I was talking about earlier. And Robert Allen Carvel, Stellantis is working on having technician advocate for all business centers. Ford has technician placement specialist. And he says Georgia State Board of Education has added automotive program back into their Hope Scholarship. Thank God.
Love that.
Even adding an automotive program in middle school. Oh my God.
That's fantastic.
Yes. Wow. You know what? There's a high school in my local area that just started. They aligned themselves with a local garage, Furman's Garage. Okay, this guy, Wes Furman, has a repair shop, and he brought a program to the school so that some of these kids are now apprentices at his garage, and they're learning how to fix brakes, how to do other repairs. And those are the things. If your program evaporated at your high school, we donate a lot of money to schools. Why not start a program at your local high school to fill this void?
I think it would be amazing the number of kids in high school who would be interested in that. Even if they don't go on to be a technician, people like working with their hands. There's my son. He said, Mom, I don't know what to do. I don't want a desk job. That's exactly what we just saw in the video. They don't want a desk job. They want to work with their hands. So high school, middle school, junior high should be a time to try out different things that you like. So making this available to them so people can see, these kids can see what is it that I really like to do. And it's really about education, continuing your education. Shouldn't be about, well, you either go to college or you don't. And it makes it seem like you're not getting an education, but you are getting an education. So why can't we think of it as, okay, what am I going to do next to continue my education?
Exactly. And it's the mechanics of yesteryear were different. I remember rebuilding starter drives, putting a new Bendix drive in, putting new brushes in, or alternators and all that kind of stuff. Now you're replacing components, and these components are lasting a lot longer. And a lot of the technology has advanced so much. We're talking about computers, video. I mean, most kids today young kids are into video games and computers. And that's all part of what automotive is. Let me get to a couple of comments here. Bob Carmack says, you got it. Oh, thank you. Matt Immerfall, earnings opportunities for techs today are tremendous. How can you better paint a path to capture and the attention of younger generations? Earning potentials on the surface seems to be a primary concern. 100%. These are specialized. These are electromechanical engineers. They're not just oil changers or what we used to call another term.
These are really high-tech careers. And it really, when you think about it, it is STEM. It is STEM education.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is just amazing work. If you think about it, it's not blue collar. We should think of it as the new collar type of work, because you have to be smart. You have to be able to figure things out. People think, to your point, technicians, oh, well, they're just going to change oil, or, they're just going to put a body part back on the car. Well, you don't just put a body part back on the car. You need a good quality repair. And it takes education to learn that. Regardless of where you get that education, that's really important.
Oh, 100%. Let's see here. Roger Gutierrez, one of our Fixed Ops brothers on SDL, which is a group of folks that get together on Sunday mornings. We had a live event today at our shop, so I was unfortunately not able to attend, but we get together every Sunday morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and we talk about the things that affect fixed operations in stores and how people solve some of those problems. Ed Chipolowski says, do you see more automotive/collision dealerships using augmented reality for training and service? And if yes, do management and technicians feel it is effective? That's an interesting question.
It is. And I believe it's coming at some point in time. I don't see it a lot. I know the OEMs use it. I've actually seen it in use for paint. So there's a lot of different things that we can do with the technology and add it in. But there's always going to be a need for technicians to do something with the car. So how can we better marry technology with a human, a technician that's actually working on the vehicle? That's where I think we really should be looking at going into the future.
Craig Tomaszek, not only will it be important to bring in new talent, it's going to be just as important to adapt, to train them and retain them, right? And that starts with the culture in the store. That starts with valuing who you have, realizing that, hey, there's this many needed, there's this many coming out of tech school. So of those stores that, like Furman's Garage, who pioneered a program with the local high school to develop techs where there are none, and my hat's off to guys like that and gals like that, because they're the ones taking the lead. We also at the same time have to appreciate who we have, treat them better, realize that if we want some of these younger kids to come in, we've got to adapt to what's important to them, right? When I started in this business, there was no such thing as work-life balance. It was all work, and you balance the rest of your life around your work. But the people today, the young people coming into our business, they don't want the bell to bell from 7 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, and they're not going to do it. And there are enough outside agencies or industries that are taking our technicians, the few that we have, and taking them out of our business. And that's a shame. So culture plays a lot into this. And that starts with the leadership in the shop. And I know culture tends to be an overused term, but it's a real thing.
Absolutely. How these technicians are treated, and is the culture of the shop fun? Is there opportunities for them to grow, to gain more skills, even down to the products that are used in the shop? Is it quality products? Caliber just recently finished outfitting every center with a dust-free system. There is a big difference when you work in a shop and you work in a shop that has a dust-free system. It is cleaner air. You don't go home with everything, everything that's from the shop. It makes a difference. So the working environment for the techs is really important, and having quality tools, quality products. Those are some of the big things that help people retain technicians.
And that's something that I certainly never had, coming up in this business. But those are the types of things, initiatives that stores need to take on to make better working conditions. Brandon Phillips says, no mistake, I'm here watching this. Started as a porter at 18 out of high school at a Ford dealership. I'm going to highlight this one here.
Oh.
In Houston, and am now 25 with 5 years service advisor experience, 3 at Ford, 2 at private shops. This information is awesome to see as someone looking growth in this industry to a manager and eventually director. My hat's off to you.
Well, that's a great point. Hey, congratulations, Brandon. These are the types of stories that we need to show people. Come into this industry, be a technician, and guess what? There's growth. Brandon just showed you can go on to do other things within the industry. So if you get into it, you want to do it for a while, maybe you want to do something else, there is just so much opportunity to continue to grow in whatever specific position it is. So congrats, Brandon. That's awesome. That's
great. Now, Brandon, I don't know if anybody told you this, but nobody ever gets out of our business alive. It's such an awesome business. Some of my best friends today I've met on both sides of the desk. And I've got friends that go back decades that I met in automotive. So congratulations to you. It's your first 5 years and you're young. So you've got decades. I mean, decades ahead of you. So you're going to love it. And
many more to come. Yes. I couldn't get out of the industry either. I tried and I'm like, no, I have to stay. It's, there's so much to be said. It's a different industry because I've seen other industries, but there is a camaraderie within this industry that alone makes it very hard to leave.
Like none other. And the opportunities are great now. They've always been great. If you're a hard worker and you apply yourself, the opportunities there. At the age of 25, I became a homeowner. And that's,
wow,
working in an aftermarket repair shop in a Midas. So the opportunities are there. We need to have those conversations. Robert Allen Carvel, thanks to fast food and Amazon for wanting things fast. No more rebuilding alternators and starters. No, that's a lost art, man. Brandon Phillips says, come out of high school with no auto experience, took a limb for a part-time porter job, and it's now my career. That's so awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's super. Mike Vogel says, smart fixed ops management are always learning. They need to make sure they provide the same for their team of technicians and advisors. 100%. Brandon says, thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. And Robert Allen Carvel, I have advisors at some of my stores, $90K to $145K per year. That is an astounding number when you think about it, because only the automotive business gives you an opportunity for that kind of compensation with no 4 years worth of college debt. And as Brandon had just stated, coming into this business with no experience and learning and working his way up into the system. So, wow.
That's a great thing, because a lot of companies will train you, and many companies today are having apprenticeship programs. So you can come in, they'll teach you what you need to know, whether or not you've gone to some sort of schooling to be a technician. Caliber has their technician apprentice program where you come in, we put you with a seasoned master technician to learn the business, it's 10 to 12 months based off of the skill. And at the end, you have a job. You go right into a job. And so all of the industry, if we look at how do we build the next version of technicians, and those technicians, just like Brandon, will go into other areas as well, service advisor, leadership, whatever it is. We need people that have that passion for the industry and wants to be there and knows many areas of it, because when you know several areas, you create more growth for yourself.
There's so much opportunity. A dealership is a business that has many businesses within it. And there are a lot of really progressive dealerships. I happen to know Carter Meyer's Auto Group, for instance. They have such a system where they evaluate the employees, and sometimes an employee shifts from one department to another where they're a better fit. So They offer them great opportunities. Mike Vogel says, Brandon, over 40 years for me, started as a porter also, then prep department, advisor, manager, director, corporate director, now semi-retired, but love and live the business as much as day one. I'm right there with you, Mike. Every morning I get up with the same enthusiasm as the first day I got into this business.
Yeah. And that's not the only story like that. You see that across the industry. I started as a porter. I started as this. I started as a shop helper. You see it. I see it consistently. Even in Caliber, a lot of our leadership, that's where they started. Some of them sweeping, some of them driving, some of them doing certain things. And there are executive leadership. So you see it in so many different places within the industry. Just shows that the growth is there. And if, you want to be in the customer service business, you want to help people out, this is a great industry and a great career.
Now, the takeaway here for anybody watching, whether you're watching live today or on the replay, is career path, right? Career path. When you take in new people, set forth a career path, explain about training, and lay out for them that after they reach certain proficiencies and certain levels, this is what they can expect from a compensation standpoint. This is what they can expect from a job level standpoint. There are so many things that, there's an old saying that if you don't, how does it go? If you don't plan to succeed, what is that? If you
fail to plan, then you plan to fail.
That's it.
That's it.
Right on the tip of my tongue. But that's so true, though. So the stores that embrace the fact that, hey, there aren't 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 technicians coming out of tech school today. Those that develop their own with programs, with apprenticeships, with high schools, with tech schools, with laying out a career path, those are the ones that are going to succeed. There's always going to be that situation. We know about the 80-20 rule. Well, I've been saying for a while that 95-5 is the new 80-20. So we need to work a little bit harder to succeed today than in the past. Let me see. We got a couple of comments here. Robert Allen Carvel, best kept secret out there, automotive business, where if you have a good work ethic and follow the process of your dealership, you will go far, 100%. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play a short clip here, and this make sure you write down the information at the very end of it. It's like a minute or so just bear with me.
What's up, everyone? I'm world champion drifter and professional fun haver, Vaughn Gittin Jr. I'm reaching out to you today to let you guys know about TechForce.
TechForce, the first and only social network for next-gen tech.
Welcome to TechForce, a platform dedicated to launching and advancing the careers of next-generation technicians.
People like you, students, instructors, working techs, industry leaders, you. Showcase your school, job, and awards. Post your current project and follow your friends. Flex your talent. Follow industry trends and connect with future employers. Connect works on all devices. Compete with other users and climb the leaderboard in daily and special trivia. Scholarships. $1.5 million in scholarships awarded annually. Explore your passion, flex your talent, build your career. Join TechForce.org.
Pretty cool, right? So make sure you head to techforce.org. Have fun. Whoa!
$1.5 million in scholarships.
Actually,
Training.
Paul, in 23, it'll be 2.3 million for
Wow.
TechForce. Yeah. We upped the game.
.org. Go to the website, sign up for a free account, poke around, see what's available. Now, it's a nonprofit, so there are certain levels. You can get involved with sponsorships, which I highly recommend, but the network is huge, and you're helping the industry that we all love. Let me get to a couple of comments here. Brandon Phillips, Mike Vogel would love to reach out and keep in touch over time to continue to learn from you and all your knowledge. Thanks, and have a blessed night. It's one of the many things I love about this show, the connections that we make. We make connections between people. We make connections between companies. This is wonderful, right? Mike's got all these years in the business, and here's a young man, Brandon Phillips, who's now going to connect with Mike and forge a friendship relationship that's going to help us all. Because when you help others, you help yourself.
And that's just part of our industry. That's what we do. This is what happens on a daily basis.
Yeah, wonderful. Bob Carmack, when I was a GM in 3 stores, I went to both high schools and especially junior colleges. Oh, I'm going to highlight this one here. To recruit on career day, we offered to pay for all or most of their tech education in tech schools via a contract or agreement that if we paid for it, they agreed to stay employed for X number of years minimum after they graduated. We also had an educational reimbursement program. If they completed their tech education, etc., they paid for it, but we reimbursed them. And again, they agreed to work for us. It cuts off, so I can't see it, but probably in the comments you'll be able to see that. I mean, that's huge. And another thing is tools, right? There are some shops that, in addition to what Bob's talking about, and that's wonderful, kudos to you guys, they also provide tools for some of these young techs so that the techs don't have to go broke or go into massive debt, because tools are expensive. It's no joke. I have my original Snap-on rollaway from when I started in this business, because they'll last you forever, but they're not inexpensive. And I don't have a monster of a toolbox like a lot of the techs do today. So that's another thing to think about, to retain your techs or to attract new ones. What Bob's talking about is incredible. Some stores are doing that today. Some groups are doing that. It attracts new talent. And my buddy, John Frazier, posted something on LinkedIn recently. If you guys aren't connected with him, connect with him, because here's a guy that walks the talk. He went into schools as part of a job fair, and that's what they do. Mike Vogel says, Paul, as you stated, showing what their career path will look like is critical for setting expectations, so that you're not planning to fail, right? You're planning to grow your business and to grow your people. Look at Ed Roberts. I don't know if you're connected with Ed Roberts, but if you're not, I highly recommend that you do. Here's a guy, he's the operations director for Bozard Ford Lincoln, and he's got people beating down the doors that want to work there. And they've got a 90 some odd techs, if not more than that now, that they treat well. There's a career path. They took the #1 place in the country for tire sales. Process. People, process, tools. It's very simple stuff. So, wow. You know, there's so much we can cover. We'd go on for days. So I try to schedule the show 30 minutes or so. Sometimes we run a little longer, like today. But I really appreciate you, Angie, coming on the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you out there are not connected to Angie, by all means, reach out to her. She's got a lot of years in this business. We won't say how many. If we're not connected, you and I, please connect. Robert Allen Carvel says, I have a Matco 4-bay with a hutch and 2 cabinets, all total about $125,000. Whoa.
Wow.
It's a lot more than I spent. Oh my God, that's wow. Mike Vogel, supplying tools is so important with the ability to earn to keep them after a defined period. Yes, that's what we're talking about. Get creative.
Yep.
Give them an incentive. Set a plan for growth. LinkedIn user. It's not Lamont because he fixed his issue. But after the show goes off, it'll say who LinkedIn user is. It's a TechForce follower and new show listener. Enjoyed the conversation. Well, thank you and welcome, welcome, welcome. Any final thoughts you want to leave us with, Angie, before we close down tonight?
Absolutely. Paul, first off, thank you for having me. Love talking about the automotive industry and collision and really technicians, because technicians, as I've heard and seen people say, you know, keep America rolling. So there's vehicles, you need them repaired, and these are smart people. It's an excellent career. And remember that it's not just about going to college or not. It's about how are you going to continue your education and what are you most interested in. So continuing your education, if it's into a career as a technician, that's phenomenal, because as we showed here, there's lots of opportunity. There's lots of growth. There's lots of training. People are innovative with the ideas that they use to retain technicians. So it's a lucrative, viable, and really fulfilling career.
Awesome. I can't thank you enough. Just a final comment from Bob Carmack, Angie, and everyone commenting. I've sent you an invitation to connect on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Bob.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As my good friend Paul Machine always says, a rising tide lifts all boats. I hope that this gives you a little bit more information. If you have a friend or coworker or someone you know that would benefit from this show, please, by all means, do share it with them. And Angie, why don't you stay on for a moment after we close down. Robert Allen Carvel, great show. Thanks. Thank you all that watch live, and thank you all that watch on the replay. Have a safe and successful next week, and we'll see you next week on Sunday Night Live. Sharon Young says, you're so right, Angie. And Bob Carmack says, thank you. And with that, we'll see you next week. Have a great week. Hold on there, Angie.
You bet.